It's, well, okay, I cut down a log, I take it to a territory which is only, say you're on the borderline on the river. Okay? So you take it into the next territory, which has its own processing plant. That processing plant then ships it 30 miles to its own center, which turns it into cutting boards, and then sends it back to you so that you can then have your significant other buy it out of a store, which is, say, another 2 miles from where you live. You just cut out probably a good anywhere from 100,000 up to 250 million worth of resource wasting over something because one company was like, well, we don't want to abide what you're doing, so we're going to ship these overseas. Don't need to ship them overseas. That one individual state that would rather do that because they didn't want to pay the other state's tax cost, guess what? Their territories, they're now in the exact same territory. That is now a shared expense. They don't have to ship overseas and waste all of those resources because there's one built into their territory.
I don't know. I still think there would be a lot of debate. I still think a lot of them would still try to throw their weight around just because
that's the whole point,
they feel like they can.
That's the whole point. By doing something like that, it takes the power away from the businesses. It takes the power away from those people who would profit off of the next person for the simple fact of, well, I'm rich, you're not, I'm hoarding money that you don't have. It takes that away from them to establish new guidelines and new rules by which to say, hey, there's no longer 50 states for you, there's no longer another 49 states for you to travel through to see if you can come up with a better deal. There's now only 12 territories. So if you can't come up with a better deal, you can still go overseas if you want. However, keep in mind, it's not just your state that's affected by that choice anymore. It's now your district, which consists of 5 and 6 states all at the same time. And where you as a state may oppose such a thing like that because, oh, it's so much harder, it's more work, I don't want to have to get up out of bed to do. Guess what? You got 4 to 5 other states involved in your territory that's telling you, you know what, shut the heck up because this is going to make it a whole lot easier. It's no longer, hey, this state's going to ratify to do what they want, when they want, how they want, opposite of whatever the federal government says. It's just like the current reform for Obamacare. Okay, we live here in Indiana. Indiana said, okay, we're going to follow what Obama said and put into law. But what we're going to do is we're going to do it at such an expense that it makes people go, oh, well, this law sucks. And the fact is the only reason the law sucks is because the state is still following by the law, but they did so by manipulating it so people still can't afford anything. Right now, there are people out there in this state who single, unemployed due to a severe disability that keeps them from being able to work, that keeps them from being able to enjoy a normal life, who are on federal income help, welfare, that kind of stuff. Okay? Who's right. Now, for instance, like say the food stamp issue. Okay? There is that I know of specifically, there is a family which is a single, I shouldn't say family, it's a single person, okay, who is disabled, cannot work. Okay? They're both mentally and physically disabled. Okay, cannot work, whose parents put in a lot of freaking hours and that kind of stuff to ensure that this person would have money and that kind of thing. However, the money that's there is just enough to, say, pay bills and housing, but not food. So they're on food stamps, okay? This single person who I am specifically talking about, without naming any names, that kind of stuff, went from $174 a month, which isn't a lot, but as a single person, if stretched, you can live on that for groceries. If, being that that's what you're using it for, you can live on that. You may not always like what you have to eat, but it's cheap, you can afford it, and you will live off of it. Okay? So, that's possible. Alright? It can be done. However, this person went from making that to, with the new laws and that kind of stuff, that Indiana saw fit to change to say, well, we're following Obamacare. Okay? They dropped down to $12 a month.
It'd be interesting.
Now, if that was the case, say Indiana, the other territories that are within the other quote-unquote states that are now involved within that territory, okay, those that are involved are states whereby, like, say, Illinois, which is a very good system for food stamps, that kind of stuff, because they followed the regulations that were originally set up without the manipulation that the state of Indiana did, to essentially still be able to tax and make money off of its citizens by manipulating what they had to legally do. Okay, a person over there with, say, physical and mental issues who are, they're mandated and maintained to only, be able to have, say, so much that they can make, that kind of stuff. However, they, over there, like, say, in Illinois, well, they still get a couple hundred in which to live off of. And those families and stuff who are over there who are living off of that, they do fairly well. And the state's not in any danger or anything like that, but they're not taxing the heck out of their system, and they didn't manipulate the legal aspect of the law of what they were told to do, specifically for the fact that they did what they were told to do. And so the system does work. But you have states which basically say, well, yeah, that system will work, but we don't get enough out of it for our liking, so we are going to change the system by doing this. Well, if it's under a territory-based system, can't do that anymore. You're affecting more than just your individual state. This isn't up to you anymore as an individual state. You've got these other states involved within your territory that you now have to think about. You can't just jip out your understanding or your citizens or your responsibility in the matter so that you can say, well, yeah, they get theirs, but it's at such a cost that they'll be running right back to us just so we get our cut.
But there in itself, I would see corruption.
There's corruption now. Look how much corruption is out now.
Yes, but I see there's more of a chance that they could do it.
There's less of a chance, not more of a chance.
No.
Okay.
Because
it is much easier to see and find and protect from corruption out of 13 than it is out of 50 plus.
This is true. But it only takes a small number to collaborate with each territory head to manipulate that system.
Okay.
Either way they manipulate
Guess what? That's the current situation within the U.S. anyway. However, when it's that and it's that many people now who live in that big of a territory, that corruption is much more easy to define, because if you live in a territory of, instead of a state, imagine the current states in which we live in, being Indiana. Imagine if the laws that were made here in Indiana didn't apply just to Indiana, but applied to Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Illinois.
Right.
If the deciding factor of that whole territory of land was based off the individuals for one territory, and people said, well, they're not doing this right, they can't do that, that's much, much easier to see for the people to go, yeah, in this case, there's corruption in there, and get those people out.
But
Than
that
it is
assumes that
for each state to go,
reduce that.
huh?
But the way you were saying it, each territory. Now, here's what I want to know. In each territory, is it a single person that's in charge of their state in that territory? Or is it a group? Because if it's a single person, any single person can become greedy.
No,
and that's
it wouldn't
where
be
the
a single person. That's what I said. The states maintain their own individuality. However, state, quote unquote, like state law is now territory law. So you would have a group of people from each individual state who act as the legislation of what would be state law, but now it's over top of the entire territory.
Right. So, but now here's my question. Is it a group, just a group, meaning like it's one from each state that now became that territory? So it'd be one from Indiana, one from Michigan, one
No,
from...
it would
so
be
it would
a
be a
group.
of 5 from each group.
Yeah, you could do that. You could have, so that you're like, okay, look at our current, we have how many mayors in the state of Indiana? We have, Senate, we have governor, we have tons of mayors. Okay, now, imagine taking all of those mayors, imagine taking the senators, imagine taking the governors, imagine taking all of those people and you narrow them down so that each individual state has, say, based upon the size of the states, like if you were up in Maine, Rhode Island, that kind of stuff, your state's pretty small to begin with. So, you maybe 3 people per, individual state that's involved in there because the state's so small.
Those would be almost Providence.
Yeah, but larger states, say, for instance, let's take our state here in the Midwest. And like I said, it's just the surrounding states. We're all one territory, right? Okay?
Right.
And roughly between the full area size of the states and that are involved with that particular location, it's really pretty level, pretty even, minus Kentucky. Kentucky, I think, is the smallest state out of all of those that I listed, right?
Right.
Okay, but say then total, every state involved in that territory has 4 people from that territory that are involved in the territorial law. So it's not like the one person from Illinois can go, well, this is how we do it, so this is now how everybody has to do it. No, there's 4 people from your state which have to agree on presenting it, along with then 4 other states who are involved in that territory that then have to agree to it. And before that can pass, those individual states, the people in those individual states, have to vote and get their say onto whether or not the state feels that it should be this way or not.
Okay. So we've discussed how it would work for that, but now here's another foreseeable problem that just got to me, because if all the different states are mixed and they are now territories, wouldn't that create territory wars? I mean, in essence, wouldn't that create, like, if one territory decide, you know what, we're not liking the way this territory runs its shit, so we're just going to go and overtake it.
The thing is those territories, while there is territorial law, okay, they're still under a federal law as well.
Okay, but then that means that there is something higher than the territories. So that still puts a
But
higher
instead of
group of
50 plus governments, like right now, each state is a territory because it is. It's just listed, it's just called a state rather than a territory. So we have 50 plus individual territories right now. So what we're
so
doing is we're taking those individual territories going, you can't be so self-centered on only what you feel is correct, because now you have these states who are also now considered a part of your territory. So you have to think about them as well as the betterment of yourselves.
right, but then that's going to put it to where you still have one unifying body that controls over all the
No,
territories.
it's not, like right now, the federal government is still not a unifying body. The people can, turn around and veto out the president or ask for or impeach, any person that's in power, for doing that. That those laws still would stay the same. But the federal government now, instead of trying to compromise, balance, and regulate 50 individual states as 50 individual states with their own laws, now are down to only 13.
I don't know. I, it sounds good. I guess you would go practically, but I still think applying it would create its own bugs inside its own system.
Well, you're going to get that. Look at how many bugs have been created within our system as it is anyway.
Well, I'm not saying our system here is perfect either way. We know this. But the thing that, I just seen that happen.
What?
Wow.
Did we? I thought we made slabs.
Not in the center. The center was made out of cobble brick because that's why it was turning into mossy cobble.
I
thought
wasn't
you
over
knew.
top of Mossy Cobble. I was in front of the house.
Yeah, that was cobblestone.
OMG.
You did it.
Because it was supposed to be slab, but not cobble.
You are the one that put the cobble there. And I
Not
said,
right-
don't you want to
not
change
right
that to
here, I
slab? And
didn't.
you were like,
Not right here,
no,
I
it'll be
didn't.
fine for right now.
Not right here, I didn't. You can go back and watch the original first episodes. That was all you right here. When we were first building that. That was all you, because
I
I
don't
didn't
think
have
so.
any cobble.
It don't matter. You still did it first. Ha ha ha. Wow, I can't put any under the sieve tables.
What do you mean
I'm
you
gonna
can't
have
put
to
any
move.
under the SIP tables?
Yeah, you got to move them. And I just broke
Oh,
my
I see what you're saying. Yeah, because the SIP table is an entire block.
Yep, I'm making more slabs here for you. Do 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 do.
Hold on.
Oh, I did that wrong, didn't I?
No, that's okay. Just pick this one up right here.
Oh, hold on, I got an idea. I can get it from back here.
Oh, can you get it back from back there?
I think so.
Perfect.
I'm gonna try to shoot for the moon. Maybe not.
Here. Move!
There, I got that one.
No, that's what I was gonna do.
But I can't get the one underneath this sip.
Well, that's what I said. Dig the one out that's right there in front of it.
He moved before I could get him to go under the.
I saw that!
I tried.
I moved and all of a sudden I look and it went plunk. I'm like, oh, we gonna play that route, huh? See how you are. Okay, there's that. And put these in here.
Stand on the only block that can't be broke by anything he's got at the moment.
If I'm sitting gravel, I don't have any blocks at the moment.
Well, no, I'm standing on top of the bedrock. The only block you can't break with
Hey,
anything you have at the moment.
that's not safe either.
Only if you go in creative, but I'll see you do that before then.
No, that's not safe because I could just lean up and hit you.
I hit back.
Oh my goodness.
I keep hoping I'll run out here and get lucky and get an Enderman with an Ender Pearl, but
That would be nice.
wouldn't it? Or another Manikio. Oh, there's another Manikio. Well, that's 2 of them. I might have enough for seeds.
Nice.
I do, but I don't have any seeds. Darn it.
We don't have any seeds whatsoever?
No. But we've got a whole bunch of grass, and there's 17 bone meal right here, so
There you go.
I'm gonna go try to get some. Be right back. Take that off the hot bar. Only downside with this is Pam's harvest. I like it.
Yum.
Man, there's a lot of seeds for that.
Yes.
And if we like make a farm for all the seeds of Pam's craft, we're gonna have everything under the sun.
Yes.